So it's interesting, being in this space, both as a professional, as a caregiver, you also often hear the term caregiver toolkit, and what do you rely on? Are there rituals? Are there services or supports or people? And I have to tell you that I rely on my family, my extended family, a lot for support for Mom. Not physically, but socially and emotionally. I am so fortunate. Living in New Jersey, we have relatives that are, within a half hour, an hour away. And I have cousins that will come and spend an afternoon with Mom. They might bring her lunch or just sit and talk with her. And for her, that social and emotional connection is what keeps her going. And Kat, I know the story. Last week, my cousin brought her 3-year-old grandson to see Mom, and they had dinner with her and had visited for about 3 hours. And I called her after they were gone, and Rachel, the joy in her voice just filled me up. It really did. Like, so how was it? She goes, "Oh my God, I'm exhausted. He doesn't stop." But she had such a smile in her face when she said it. She said, "But he's so sweet and he's so cute, and he wouldn't leave Bella alone. He wanted to, pet, but Bella got a walk. Cole and Kathy took Bella for a walk, so she was happy, and they had dinner together, and it just kept her going for days afterwards. We talked about it. And so I know, and my mom and I have talked about how fortunate we are to have that social support with family. And then I have friends who support me and understand when at the last minute I have to say, I can't do this, or sorry, I wish I could join you. And I have wonderful friends who will say to me, so when can we get together? And we talk about dates, and like, well, you know what? I'll tell you what. Let's go. Well, how about if we meet you at your mom's house for dinner? Or you and your mom and I go to a restaurant together. And because these are friends from childhood, it's not only visiting with me, it's visiting with my mother. And again, that social and emotional support is so important to her. And plus, it gives her stuff to do. Like if they're coming to dinner, she's Italian, so she has to cook, right? So she'll make dinner. And that's one of the things we'll do together. In fact, for Easter, we had 19 people to Easter dinner, 5 different families, and every family went home with a homemade banana bread and soup she had made over the winter. And that, being able to give her love like that, makes all the difference in the world for her and for me, for her to be able to do it. And I think the other thing in terms of services and supports, key things, is I really work hard every single weekend to find time to be her daughter and not just her caregiver. It might be taking her in the car for a ride. It might be playing cards. It might be sitting in the living room with me on the phone on Facebook and catching her up with the family information, because with her eyesight, she can't do that kind of thing. So it's really find a block of time when I'm not task focused, but I'm her daughter. So the other thing we often talk about as caregivers is self-care, and what do you do for yourself? And I have to tell you that journaling, which everybody says you should do, really does help me, particularly at stressful times. I can't tell you that I'm disciplined and do it every day, nor can I tell you that I meditate. I'm disciplined about that. But when I'm really stressed, those are 2 things that help me tremendously. Because you can write whatever you want in that journal and no one will see it but you. But the other piece of that for me is if I'm venting, I work really hard to end it with, this is what I'm grateful for, because otherwise for me, it's not a good practice. Taking Josh or Bella on long walks really help me. I wish I could tell you I was more disciplined about exercise. I'm not. But, the long walks help. And seeing friends on the weekends that I'm home helps. And I have to tell you, this career as a blogger really helps, because when you're writing from personal experience, you kind of work it out in that writing. And so that's been an unexpected blessing, the blogging, and how that really helps me to process things and come to other conclusions and decisions and think about how I'm doing things. So part of kind of the other end of self-care is always the question of what do you do for fun? What would you do if you weren't caregiving? And that's really an interesting question because so much of it requires money, which I don't have a lot of at the moment while I'm starting this business. But I do, when it's not for work and not stressful, I do love to travel and see places and see things. So being able to travel someplace new that I've not been and take it in and the history of it is amazing. And you know what's so funny? When I was consulting a lot and traveling, a lot of times they put you like in apartments, you know, so you could cook and stuff. This is going to sound really weird, but one of the things I always did was I went to the grocery store because you learned so much about the community you were in for those 3, 4, 5, 6 months just by going to the grocery store. You know, did it have a lot of, you know, Asian products? Did it have a lot of Latino products, you know, Polish products? You kind of got a feel for it. And so going and learning about the community, seeing sites. If I had one day off, head to the Jersey Shore and just chill by the water. That's my thing to do, is get by water.